Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tiernan, and I'm the Development Officer at the NI Council for Integrated Education. So we're here today with Deirbhile from Trócaire, who is going to be introducing and explaining Trócaire's 2014 digital resources. So they're on the theme, I think, of water justice, and they relate directly to our principles for integrated education. I think specifically equality and also social responsibility. So really, really useful resources for staff across integrated and transforming skills. But we're going to be recording this session so teachers can access it at their own time. But I'm going to leave it to Deirbhile to introduce it to us. Hi, Deirbhile.
Thanks, Kieran. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. I've got a little presentation here. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yep, super. Okay, so as Tiernan said, every year we release new resources for schools to use. They tend to come out this time of year, but they are for use at any stage throughout the year. So we'll talk a little bit about our programs and what we do in our development education work in general, just in case anyone isn't familiar with that. And then I'll give you an overview of the resources and show you how to access them. So just a little bit of context for anyone that hasn't maybe heard of Trócaire or aren't familiar with our work. We're a social justice organisation, so we were established over 50 years ago. We are an Irish charity and we work overseas and at home on global justice. So we have a dual mandate. First part of the dual mandate being our overseas work. So we have 15 long-term programmes currently in countries across the world, where we help anyone facing poverty, injustice, and natural disasters, climate change, things like that. But our second part of our dual mandate, which is where kind of my work comes in as Development Education Officer, is to teach people at home about these issues and inspire people at home, especially young people, to really want to make a change and know that they can make a change from where we are here, even though we're not necessarily directly connected to other countries. So through our resources, just a couple of key points. Some of you might be familiar with Eco Schools, but you might know we actually are their official delivery partner for the Global Perspectives topic. So we do a lot of work through Eco Schools, through our resources. And by using our resources and engaging in our workshops, schools can gain their green flag status. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone. You can engage with our development education work whilst also getting your Eco Schools status too. So all of our resources come through a justice lens. We try to keep an open palette per se for any school, any teacher with any ethos to sort of put their own spin on it. So we come from a justice lens, and all of our resources encourage sort of active learning, taking action, and really giving teachers ideas of things they can do in their school, which create pupils that want to go out and make a change. So I'll talk a little bit about our two main programs that we run every year, and then I'll show you our resources. So our first main program is called Game Changers. This is a really successful program, which again is in collaboration with Eco Schools. This has been running for a good number of years now. Last year we had 220 entries, and this year we're looking at upwards of 300. So it's getting more and more popular. Essentially what it is a way of exploring global justice through creating games. So we go out and we give a workshop to any schools that want to participate free of charge on global justice, the sustainable development goals. And then we do a little workshop on games design as well, and sort of the power of video games, digital games, board games, card games, in getting a message across. And it kind of brings the learning to life for the kids. And they themselves then create their own games, which are showcased at our final down in Dublin. And we have winners and prizes and so forth. So as I said, that runs every year. Registration has just closed actually for this year, so it will be something to keep in mind from September onwards. We kind of run the workshops from September to February, and then we have the finals in spring. And that's open to all schools, so primary, post-primary, and youth groups as well. Second program we run is our more mature program. It's called the Right Focus. And we've actually designed this mostly for post-primary schools. And we've designed it alongside the Learning for Life and Work curriculum. So it goes hand in hand with schools that are studying that, Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. Again, we do a workshop on global justice, the sustainable development goals. But instead of looking at games, we look at documentary making. So we provide a workshop on how to make a documentary, sort of how to interview people and how to create something real about these justice issues that they can then share with their peers in their school. Similarly, this runs from September till about February time. So again, you'd want to be looking at this in the new academic year if you were interested in getting involved. And both of these programs, as I said, work towards your Eco Schools Green Flag as well, if that's something you're interested in. So that's kind of a side point with just the things we do every year. As I know, I'm here today to talk mainly about our resources and what you can actually get your hands on now and what you can use. So we've got loads of resources. So we have quite a big development education team. I'm the officer for the North, but I work closely in collaboration with our team down in Maynooth as well. And we come up with resources in all shapes and sizes and forms. So we have lots of digital resources on our website. We have digital games, we have downloadable PowerPoints and so forth. But what I really want to talk to you about today is our interactive resources. So this is something we've put a lot of work into. You know, if we're going to talk about the climate and talk about looking after the environment, we realized it wasn't effective or efficient to continue to make paper resources. So we put a lot of time and effort into creating digital resources, which are made for the interactive whiteboard. So they don't cost the school any printing and they don't cost us any printing either. So everything is for use on a whiteboard and it should work really well. So this year the theme, as Tiernan said at the start, so we do a different theme every year and it coincides with our fundraising theme. So our fundraising theme for this year is water justice. It's based around the fact that the United Nations has established since 2010 that every single person in the world should have access to safe, acceptable and affordable water. But we all know fine well that this does not happen. And this is an injustice, and therefore this is our key focus for this year, for our fundraising and for our resources. And this is what our resource looks like. So I'll show you it, I'll share my screen and go through it at the minute. It's part of a 3-year digital journey. So as I said, we're trying to transition to digital resources. Last year we looked at global justice in general, and this year we're focusing on the climate. So I'm going to share my screen here and take you through it, show you what it looks like. And I'll pass the link on then as well to Tiernan, and you can have a look in your own time because there's actually a lot on there for you to explore. Has my screen moved over? Can you see the web browser? Great. Okay, so water justice, as I said, is the theme for this year. So for the first time, we have broken it down into early childhood and junior primary. So if anyone is sort of nursery and early years education, we now have resources specifically for that age group. We have senior primary, which is your key stage 2, potentially lower key stage 3, depending on the ability of your class. Post-primary then, which is our key stage 3, key stage 4, and youth for youth groups. So I'll show you just, for example, the senior primary to start with. So when you go to the link, you come to this page. As I said, it is designed for an interactive whiteboard. So this is all to be done sort of in the class. So for example, I click on senior primary. So it takes you to the tree, okay? So each sort of section has a tree. And if you go to the trunk of the tree is always the base of where you want to start. So in the trunk, you have everything you need to introduce your class to water justice and why water is so important and why it's not fair that some people don't have access to water. So again, depending on what tree you look at, it's differentiated for that age group. So this comes through a number of different activities depending on what you like. So for example, we have videos. So we've put together a video on what water justice is. So it will take you directly to that link. We also have, just lost my, there we go. We also have PowerPoints. So if you want to look at something like why water is a human right, these are downloadable and you can edit them as well. So as I said, these are, you know, this is the global justice lens. You can put your own spin on them if you want. They take you through. We've got activities. They're pretty much ready to go. They shouldn't take any work on your end unless you wanted to change them for some reason. And then we go back. So if you spend some time with the trunk, that's your introduction to water justice. And we've taken 2 countries of focus this year. So 2 of the countries where we have long-term programs. And our biggest one, which is the focus of our campaign for this year for fundraising, is Malawi. So in every key stage or age group, you will find a section on Malawi. We're focusing on Malawi this year due to the fact that Malawi is somewhere that is suffering horrendously from the effects of climate change, particularly with regards to water justice. It's a landlocked country that depends totally on agriculture and farming, and they're having extremes of too much water at certain times of the year through flooding, and then too little, where the dry season's getting longer and longer. So their access to water is becoming extremely restricted. So we have loads here, introductions to Malawi, and then we also have some different activities. So I'll show you what I mean when I say they're made for the interactive whiteboard. So if you click on this, this will open up on your whiteboard. And we've tried to bring an assessment for learning on most of our resources as well. So once you've done the introductory PowerPoints, when you go to the actual activities, you can see you can fill this out with the kids. So you could do this together on the whiteboard, or if they had little iPads or whatever, they could do it too. So they write what they know at the beginning, and they give themselves a water droplet for how confident they are before they start the topic. And all of the activities will have this at the start and the end. To do your pre-assessment, there's then some activities for you. So some discussions that take you through. And here we have some activities. So for example, how would you make this water safe to drink? They click what they want. It will tell them if they're right or wrong. But again, this is really visual on the whiteboard, and you can talk them through as a class. Going forth then, we've tried to link in loads of different topics. So we've got a little bit of science, a little bit of numeracy here, where they have to find the measurements to make a water filter. So again, they're drag and drop activities that you can go through with them as you go through. And you can bring this to life as well. I mean, I've seen people use this on the board, and then you get your plastic bottles and you build your own water filters. So how you do this is completely up to you, but ours are completely digital. So that's an example of some of the activities that we have. And go back here. So that's Malawi, okay? So it's all around safe water, making water clean, fresh, and okay to use. Our second country of focus, purely from a water justice point of view, and we've tried to stay very objective to the point with this, is Palestine. So we've chosen to look at Palestine because we have worked there since 2003. And we're now at a stage where 95% of the water there in Gaza is undrinkable and unsafe. So this is a water justice issue and a water access issue. We have done a lot of work with different groups and trying to get the facts right. And we have some pretty solid PowerPoints here as well. I think with things like Palestine, and it's ever changing, it can be quite intimidating as a teacher and even for ourselves to actually deliver on this confidently. So if it was something you were interested in looking at, we've put together a PowerPoint, which even if you don't use it for water, which very simply and objectively tells a story of the history of Palestine and Gaza and how we've got to where we are today. And again, it's focusing on water justice, access to water. Everything else is a side point, okay? So if you are looking at Palestine, we've loads of resources on there that have been very closely monitored, looked at, and as of right now are correct. Obviously things might change, but there's some useful resources you can look at there. And again, we have some activities then on Palestine. We've got reading comprehension, for example, some poetry, different literacy activities. We've provided the text for you as well. So again, this has all been fact checked. You don't have to go and find your own information. There's some basic information there on water access in Palestine and comprehension questions. So that's pretty much the gist of the tree. As I said, I'm going to post the link in now, and it's best if you go and explore this for yourself. And that was the senior primary. So for example, there's post-primary as well. And I'll take you through it all. But again, we have Malawi, Palestine, but just from a more mature angle. And as you go up towards the youth, it gets more mature, more complex, and the activities get a bit more tailored to that type of environment. So I'm happy enough to take any questions. If you have anything you want to ask, if there's anything else you want me to show you with regards to our work, that's pretty much where we are there. If you click back, you can still access our global justice tree from last year. So I said we're looking at climate this year. The global justice tree is also on the website, which is just more about, you know, why everyone deserves to be treated fairly. What is global justice, which makes a pretty nice introduction if you even want to look at the water. And we focused on some different countries last year as well. The last thing I'll show you just is we have at the bottom there, you can see when you click in, the educator guide is popping up in the corner. So that educator guide is really useful. So when you click it, this is what gets downloaded. I have it here somewhere. So this is senior primary, for example, and this takes the teacher through very clearly sort of the order we would recommend for the resources, how we could bring them to life in a classroom, and some more sort of information that you wouldn't necessarily go through with the kids, but it will definitely widen your understanding, give you more confidence teaching it. And most importantly, we also have curriculum links here. So when you're planning out your schemes of work, we have slotted it in for you. So we've got the south of Ireland, we've also got the north there. For post-primary, senior primary, you can see exactly where each activity fits into your scheme of work. And that should be done for you to minimise work. You've got glossaries and things as well. So I'd recommend downloading the educator guide, looking through it and seeing what you like from it. And I've thrown an awful lot at you there, but I tried to get through it quickly enough. I don't want to hold anyone for too long. But has anyone any questions? Anything you want to clarify?
No questions, Derville. Just apologies for arriving in late. I couldn't get the Zoom thing updated on time there. So, but those resources look absolutely fantastic. They're so fresh and lovely to look at. And I know I have a senior sixth form class. You know, even the junior stuff there, they would really relate to. It's really detailed and you know, the interactive element obviously will capture their attention. But yeah, thank you very much. It looks fantastic.
No problem. Thank you. And I'd recommend if, you know, if you've a form class, whatever, I know sometimes in form time, you've time to spare. I'd recommend going to the trunk and looking at those videos. They're really good. You can stick them on 10 minutes long and they'll spark some really good conversation. So do explore the tree. And as you said, you know, each activity is individual. You don't have to do a certain one to link to another, so you can pluck out whatever you feel is valuable then.
Yeah, just to say, Deirbhile, thank you so much for presenting that. And I think I will share it with across the schools, but I think teachers are always asking for resources that really allow them to embed the integrated ethos within their schools. And obviously they can do so much, but it's so great to have these really, really practical examples. And I think in terms of differentiation, in terms of really access to all student types and school types, it's really brilliant and so directly linked to what we aim to do in terms of, again, equality and social responsibility. It's just a fab resource. So thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who was able to come along.
Thanks, Tiernan. Yeah, they're designed totally in mind with, as I said, adaptability. We really want to, you know, the integrated sector is something that is becoming so important in Northern Ireland, and we're so behind it and the ethos, and it would be great just to just get the word out and get, you know, I think with charities like Trócaire, traditionally we, you know, we're very pocketed into certain schools and certain elements of the community. And, you know, if we're for global justice and we're for making the world a better place, then
yeah,
we need to lead by example. We need to work together. So it's fantastic to be able to reach out to you today. And another thing I'll say as well, like I said, our programs obviously run from sort of September to February with the workshops, but we offer free workshops year round. So if you are looking at water justice and you're particularly interested in something in Malawi, you can get in touch. So you can take my email, get in touch, and you know, one of us will come out and we'll talk to the kids, and it's totally free of charge. And you know, that's the best part of the job, getting out to schools. So if ever anyone wants anything, please do get in touch.
Thank you very much. If anyone else
Thank
has
you.
anything to say. Okay, I will stop recording. Thank you.